Welcome to this episode of the Morning Tea Marketing Misses. I'm so glad that you can join us. What we do is we help small business owners, sole traders improve their online presence with ideas and advice on marketing. It is June and we are talking finance. And for who's here? If you haven't seen us before, you should have seen us by now. We've been here for 6 months. So we have Narelle Gaddy. Narelle is an
Hi.
accredited accessibility auditor, and Narelle's going to be sharing her ideas about finance today. My name is Janeen Vosper, and my business is Speech Perfect. I help people step up to stand out in their brand. Kate Smith is our graphic designer, and she is got some amazing things that she's been able to talk about how you improve your design. And our fabulous Jan Roach from Disconnect Web Designs and Over 50s Health. So we have, as I said, Narelle. Narelle, you are going to share some ideas around finance today.
I am. Thank you, ladies. What I'm actually going to talk about is the cost of doing and the cost of not implementing digital accessibility into your business, along with the benefits. And as we go around, because we've spent the last year in our first year of business really educating people about what digital accessibility is and why the need for digital accessibility. And one of the questions we are asked constantly is, well, why should we do it? And the easiest way to look at it is, what is the cost to your business? It is introducing a new practice. So that means staff training. It means the cost of implementing it into your business and the time that that takes, because like any new practice, any new piece of technology that you're using, there is that time where the staff have to learn how to do it until they become very efficient and very effective with it. And then there is also the cost with, if you haven't got a good visual design, graphics designer, of the extra costs in changing your logos to include accessibility. And it could be if you haven't got the website developer that understands the necessity for it and knows how to implement it, there is an extra cost there. Then there's obviously also the cost of an audit and things like that to ensure that you are meeting Australian standards. The second cost is, I don't think it's a cost a lot of people think about, the cost of not doing it. Now, here in Australia, it's a funny setup. And the easiest analogy I can give is if you go and build your house, so you build it yourself, you put in your electricity, you put in your plumbing, you do everything yourself, right? And you look at the regulations, go, yeah, tick, yeah, kitchen height's right. I've got the wet seal right. Oh, beauty. I'm certified. I know my house is safe. Well, it's not actually, is it? Could blow down in the next storm. Or here in Queensland, next electrical storm, it wouldn't take much. A website or any digital accessibility certification currently in Australia, you can go and you can certify yourself and say you've met it. However, that doesn't mean that you have met it, because I can just about guarantee I use a screen reader and I could go on and there'd be parts of it that are not accessible. Now, here in Australia, the Australian government all do say that they are accessible. Parts of their system are accessible, but they're not accessible. So in Australia, what can happen, and it's been done twice very successfully, is you can be reported to the Human Rights Commission under the Disability Discrimination Act. So it's not the fact that you haven't met the digital accessibility guidelines. It's the fact that you are discriminating by not ensuring that your information is accessible by everyone. There have been two very successful court cases here in Australia. One is 22 years old, and that's the Sydney Olympics. The actual website for the Sydney Olympics was not accessible for a man who had a severe vision impairment. So he made the complaint. Obviously, the Olympics were finished by the time it hit court, so he got paid compensation because he could not go and book a ticket. And it was the only way you could book a ticket.
Yeah.
So he had no hope. And the second one was Coles Myer. Because someone, they go on about their online shopping, and their online shopping was not accessible. So that was taken to the Human Rights Commission, and there was quite a lot of negotiation. I haven't gone fully into it, but in the outcome was Coles actually had to make their website accessible, and it was done all at once. So the cost there would have been quite prohibitive, quite expensive. So here in Australia, we're not a litigious society, are we? When you think about it, we're not like the US. You know, I at times think that they just sue at the drop of a hat. Yes, I'm a Judge Judy fan, but you know. But seriously, there was the latest case was only settled the other day, and it was students at a community college over in the US that sued the college because they could not access their study requirements.
Oh, wow.
They couldn't do it. And so the community college had to change their practices. And the students, I can't remember whether it was compensation, and the community college had to fix it. I can't tell you which, I can't remember that. But yeah, the students won. So here in Australia, the cost of not doing it is you could end up at the Human Rights Commission, and there is a cost to that. And what we always say is, instead of that, because I don't believe in litigation for these, I believe in education. I really think, there's the carrot and stick. Let's not use the stick. Just start gradually incorporating the practices into everything you do. Like you ladies are great. You're all doing the alt text now. You've heard me speak about it, and you're starting to incorporate your practices in. And one of the reasons why you should do it is it makes you a very forward-thinking, very unique brand in Australia. I did some stats. I was curious the other day. Do you know there are 13 million people, according to the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare 2021 stats, with a sight impairment in Australia?
Wow.
So that's half the population, or over half.
That's over half the population. I mean, and I'm not saying that all of them all the time can suddenly not read your website. That's no. There's about 1,600,000 that have no sight. Okay, and then it builds up from there. And when you look at that, that hasn't taken into account the hearing impaired, dyslexics, color contrast, all these different areas. Well, actually, it does take in color contrast. I think it did do dyslexia, but there's so many different reasons why websites, people with epilepsy, or there's so many reasons why your documentation or your websites can be not accessible. So adding accessibility makes you unique. It changes your brand. It puts you as a forward-thinking, innovative person or company. It really sets you out and makes you very unique. And the other thing with it, suddenly you've got access to a whole group of people that have never really been marketed properly to before. People that have not been able to access a website properly or pay a bill properly. And your business may be a little bit more expensive, but being able to pay a bill and keep your credit ratings good versus not being able to pay your bill, which may affect your credit rating, which can affect your insurance, your interest rate payments, and it just goes on and on and on. What do you pick? It's such a big thing that people don't realize. I mean, Janeen, you're the real marketing guru with that side of it, and you, Jan, and all the three of you are all in marketing different areas. What are the effects? I mean, I'm technology, so I've got a different point of view. But for you, just making it unique, that must help, surely.
Well, one thing I think you didn't speak about, Narelle, is that the money you lose if somebody cannot purchase from your website.
Oh my gosh, that's a really good one.
If someone can't buy from you, then that's money down the drain.
And actually there is, and you may have seen the news, there is actually a hotel at the moment that refused access to a guide dog. And I'm telling you right now, that is going right throughout the blind community, and everyone in the blind community is saying, we are not going to go near that hotel. Everyone's doing it.
I know what it's like with websites, and even personally when I've gone onto a website and all I want to do is buy that thing. And if there's no real obvious buy now button,
Yeah.
how hard, like, isn't that what this website or this business is wanting to do, is to sell their goods or services? Yet
Yeah.
why is it so hard?
I'm like, or even you've added it to the cart, then you can't find the cart to finalize the sale. I had that not long ago, so I walked away and said, oh, well, I'm not going back there.
Yeah.
Because if I can't find the cart, it's
Yeah.
no good. And in saying that, I missed paying a bill the other day because it came on paper form.
Ah,
And
Mhm.
I didn't realize that it was sitting there on paper form.
there you go.
Interesting.
And and I got really cranky, as I'm prone to do. You ladies have seen me in action.
I
But
don't know what you're talking about.
no. But I actually got my husband to sit there. We got on the phone to the company and said, you will send all your bills by email. You want me to pay it? I'm happy to pay it. I want to pay it, but it is not accessible. You need to email me the bill. And it needs to be accessible. Otherwise, I can't find the BPay codes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Look, all of that is, unless it really affects you, you don't realize it. And we make buildings more accessible now so that people can enter and leave and be safe inside them. But thinking about our websites and how we're communicating online, it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said before, it is part of your brand, Narelle. So if a person goes to your website and sees that it's completely accessible, they're going to spread that amongst their friends.
Well,
So just the same way they might boycott somebody who doesn't provide accessibility, somebody who's providing it well will get noticed in the market by a whole big group of people. I find the same. I can't eat wheat if I go to a restaurant and they have a lot of good gluten-free options. They don't charge me extra for the gluten-free option. I recommend them to people.
I've got a good restaurant for you, Kate.
Oh, yeah, tell me.
Gusto de Gianni at Portside.
Okay, good to know. All right, I head there. See, exactly
and
like
Biblos at Portside.
I have to get over to Portside.
I actually know people that live there, so yeah. They'd probably enjoy a glass of wine with you.
But yeah, it's right across the board with anything. It's recommendations. And as you said, with this hotel that's in the news at the moment for not allowing a guide dog on, then that's,
probably not even their policy. It was probably just a individual. Yeah.
I believe it was just an individual, but unfortunately it happens so commonly within the vision impaired community that we all tell everyone else now.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's it might not seem a big thing, but gee, it is when you're sitting in that situation.
Yeah, most definitely.
Well, I think something for businesses to think about is that, sure, good news travels fast, but it seems that bad news travels even faster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Good point, Jan.
Yeah.
Someone can put up a post or a bad review that lots of people see.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, most definitely. You want to ensure that you're getting all good 5-star reviews, which is important.
That's it.
Thank you so much, Narelle. That's something that is definitely food for thought that we all need to be considering when we're doing anything that is accessible to everybody. Yeah, very important. And that's another episode of the Morning Tea Marketing Misses episode. I keep saying episode. Let's just call it a conversation, but it's sort of like an episode. We've had 4 months since the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So what are we up to? June, 6 months. That's 24.
We've done 24. And must mention, Janine, you're going away on holiday, so we are skipping July.
Yeah. I'll be skipping throughout the outback.
I want to see that image. Oh, my gosh.
I'll have to video that then.
Sufficiently old texted, please.
Yes. Most definitely. It's just been a wonderful 6 months. So much incredible advice that everyone has been able to share their expertise, and we really love some feedback when you are watching any of these conversations. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please share them around and give us some feedback on what you've learned and what you've applied as well. Great. And we'll say goodbye for now.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Safe travels, Janine.
Thank you.